Welcome. Today we are going to explore the simple present tense, specifically how we use it for repeated actions. We will look at common time markers and adverbs of frequency. The simple present is used for actions that happen over and over again. The actions are part of our routine. We use time markers like every day or every year to show how often these actions occur. Let's look at an example. He brushes his teeth every day. This action happens regularly, and the time marker every day tells us how often. Another example, my coworkers write reports every morning. Again, the action is regular, and every morning tells us the frequency of this action. The actions that happen at a specific number of times, we use expressions like once a week, twice a month, or three times a year. For example, she walks her dog twice a day. This tells us the action happens two times every day. Here's another example. Our neighbors have a garage sale three times a year. The action happens a specific number of times each year. Adverbs of frequency tell us how often an action happens. These include words like always, often, sometimes, and never. An example of an adverb of frequency. It often rains in the springtime. The adverb often tells us that this action happens frequently. Another example, they always do their homework. The adverb always shows us that this action happens 100% of the time. Here is an important note. Adverbs of frequency usually follow the pattern subject, adverb, and verb. For example, she usually does her homework. Another example following this pattern, they sometimes visit their grandparents. Here, sometimes is placed between the subject and the verb. Let's look at the frequency percentages. Always is used for actions that happen 100% of the time. Almost always is for about 95%. Usually is for actions that happen about 80% of the time. Often and frequently are used similarly. Sometimes or occasionally represents actions that happen about 50% of the time. If something doesn't happen very often, we use words like seldom or not very often. This represents about 20% frequency. Rarely and almost never are used when the action happens just 5% of the time. Finally, never means 0% that this action doesn't happen at all. We use the simple present tense for repeated actions. Time markers like every day or adverbs like always show us how often these actions occur.